You think you are the only smart one as a young person? You think that these, our grandmas and our grandpas, did not have anything to say? You think they don't know what is happening in the US? Anyways, let me burst your bubble, because the video I'm about to drop on your table today is our honorable mama coming to split out tea, giving us the chill bone truth as it is supposed to be, without sugarcoating words. When I actually saw this on my FYP, I was like, no, 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 no. If I do not bring this video today to you people, it is going to be a very big error. Anyways, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Sonia. If this is the first time you're tuning in, do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we're going to be using in our today's episode. Let's go and hear what exactly this mama have to tell us, and so you can know that this thing you're suffering or going through today, it is not just rooted or started today. It started back in those days. And this woman is here to tell you that it is not like the way they are painting it. This is how it is, and this is how things is supposed to be. Listen attentively, watch from beginning to the end before you drop your honest comments and opinion in the comment section. With that being said, let's get right into it, and I'll be back with commentaries.
Now, we often hear about reverse racism now.
There's no such thing as reverse racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. You can only be a racist if you have the power to institutionalize what you're doing to people who are different from you. What we're calling reverse racism is natural reaction to being treated unfairly on the basis of somebody else's ignorance. Now, don't ever let anybody say to you or about anyone around you that people don't like that person because of the color of their skin. That isn't the reason white people don't like people of color. They don't like people of color because they don't understand about skin color. And they don't understand that we all are descendants of somebody who looked like your mother. And it's time to change the White House to the President's house. This is ridiculous to call the place where the President of the United States lives the White House. It sends the wrong message. It says, I remember when Richard Nixon said to a group of reporters, "I'm trying to save the White House for you white people." That says it all. And at that moment I thought, well, wait a minute. Now this is something that has to be changed, and it has to be changed. Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. It's time to change the name of the White House to the President's house or the President's residence, which has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Well, I'm going to get lots of angry responses to that one. And I understand that. But I'm reading a book right now. Everybody that's watching this has to read this book on tyranny. 20 things that we've learned over the last 100 years in this country that have put us in the position we're in now, and what we can do about it. Everybody has to read this book. They should read this book first, and then they should read The Myth of Race by Robert Wald Sussman. And once you've read The Myth of Race, you will never, ever again go along with the idea that there are 3 or 4 or 5 different races. It was a lie made up by the people who ran the Spanish Inquisition. And before that, there were different colors, but race had nothing to do. There was only one race, the human race. We made that whole thing up. It's time to get rid of it. We have the power to do that. This country got ready for World War II in about 6 months. And you're telling me that we can't destroy racism? White people created racism. Anything you create, you can destroy. God created human beings, the human race, and they started out black women. White people created racism. Human beings created racism. It's time to get over it.
Today, most urban sectors, especially Milwaukee, remains hyper-segregated. Why is it taking so long, or why doesn't it seem like we can move the button on diversity in neighborhoods?
Because the people who have the power in this country are the people who have the money. And the people who have the money are going to decide where people live. You need to realize that there are more children attending segregated schools in the United States today than there were previous to Brown versus Board of Education. And that's a fact. You need to realize that it is not the intent of white people to let this situation change in favor of anyone but themselves. And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute. And he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, The main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you exactly, almost exactly what he says. He says there are three things we can do to solve this. Number one, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you? And if it doesn't, I want to know why it doesn't. If it doesn't, you don't understand what racism is. And I think it does.
Right. A lot of people don't understand the trauma associated with race and racism. Can you talk a little bit about the trauma associated with?
The trauma associated with it? Yeah. One of the main traumas is it tells white people that they are superior because of the lack of melanin in their skin. And then they find out suddenly that we've got a black president. That's traumatic. That's where the trauma is. Living a lie, finding out the truth, is traumatic. Finding out now, recently, that within 30 years, white people will be in the numerical minority in this country is going to be traumatic. And that's the reason we have to solve this problem, and we have to solve it now. I will ask folks tonight, how many of you black folks want to get even with all white people? And that's what white people are quite certain blacks are going to want to do, is get even with all white people. And nobody will raise their hand, and then I'll say, how many of you want to get even with one or two? Every hand will go up, and you know why, and so do I. White people are scared to death right now, particularly white males. They're scared to death that they are going to lose their power in the future. And they are. But if you want to get ready for the future, if you want to be treated well in the future, treat others well in the present. What we do in the present constructs the future. What we have done in the past, we can learn from that. And we'd better learn from that. Those who forget the mistakes of the past are doomed to repeat them. And when you read this book, you'll realize that that's exactly what we're doing. We're repeating the mistakes that we have made in the past because we aren't teaching about these mistakes in the present. We are not teaching history that is true. We aren't teaching social studies that is true. We aren't even teaching true geography, for God's sake.
When we hear, when I hear people say that they're not racist and things like that, and we talk about building racial harmony in this country, I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. Can you predict in the near future or far future when we will ever have racial harmony in this country?
In 30 years, white people will have found out that they have no choice but to get along with those who are different from themselves. I'm not willing, I'd love to wait, but I can't. At my age, I'm not going to be here in 30 years. But we could change this situation if we chose to. During the Second World War, we called the Japanese, and you'll pardon me, but this is what we called them, slant-eyed little yellow We didn't say that about the Germans. After the war, we rebuilt Germany and Japan, and we get along beautifully with the Japanese. That was in 1945 that we finally won that war. How many years ago was that? Figure that out quickly.
I'm not a math person, but
you're not a math person, but you know it wasn't that far. Right. And it didn't take 50 years for us to have peace with the Japanese and the Germans, even though we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The Japanese hadn't killed 10 million people. Nowhere near that. We didn't drop any bombs on Germany, any atomic bombs on Germany. They were a different kind of people. We couldn't afford to do that. We killed how many Japanese people with 2 atomic bombs? And they forgave us. You want to talk about forgiveness? You want to talk about changing this thing? I cannot understand how Japanese people can stand the sight of any of us, and yet they do. I cannot understand why black people who have been subjected to the ugliness that they've been subjected to in this country can get up every morning and go to work among us and not be absolutely furious. And I don't understand why we allow white people to behave the way they do. I don't understand that. And my third graders, after they'd gone through the exercise, couldn't understand it and wouldn't tolerate it. And when they went up to junior high and a junior high teacher used the N-word, one of my former students said, if you're going to use that word, I'm going to go out in the hall until you stop using it, because we don't use that word in this school. That was a seventh grader who told his teacher off. When we have enough students who are willing to confront people who are making racist, sexist, ageist, homophobic statements, we're going to be better off. We have got to stop tolerating the intolerable. If it's intolerable for my black cousins, and every black person on this earth is one of my cousins, if it's intolerable for them, it's intolerable for me. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. That is not that. I am required not to tolerate that kind of treatment for the people who are related to me. And that's every person on the face of the earth. If your ignorance is such that you'll mistreat somebody because of your ignorance about the color of their skin, don't do it around me. Number one, I've been threatened with death lots of times. Now I say, go for it, fool. My husband died 4 years ago. Being with him would not be a bad thing for me. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living a worthless, useless life is much worse than dying.
Racism and white supremacy aren't something that white people are innocent of until proven guilty. White people are guilty. White people are racist and support white supremacy until they prove otherwise. I'm obviously a white person, but it does not upset me when people call white people racist, because white people are racist. All white people in this country have some level of unconscious bias when it comes to racism, when it comes to white supremacy, because that's the foundation of the country. That is ingrained in the culture of this country, and systemically, the country was built on racism and white supremacy. And it is my job, because it is my privilege, to fight it. It does not upset me when people generalize and say white people are racist, because if anyone is questioning whether or not I am racist, that's a failure on my part, right? That's where the onus should fall. It should fall on me, because I'm not doing enough to prove that I'm not racist, that I do not support or condone white supremacy. The onus is always going to fall on the oppressor, not the oppressed.
There's a reason why people are silent. There's a reason why Joe Biden is able to do everything he's doing and still sleep at night. There's a reason why people are able to defend genocide. It's narcissism. White supremacy is a byproduct of narcissism. I made a little Venn diagram that's a circle because there are no differences between white supremacy and narcissism. First, we have the tragic victim complex, which we're seeing loud and clear every single day on this app. White people make themselves the victim because when you're a victim, you don't have to be held accountable for the oppressor's actions. This is done both globally and interpersonally. Like, we are seeing propaganda from the Israeli government to make us believe that they are the victim, even though they are obviously not. We also see this with white women tears. Next, we have lack of empathy. This is how some people are able to watch a genocide on their phones and somehow go about their normal lives and stay silent and say it's complex. It is because they lack empathy. And as we are all being indoctrinated into white supremacy, one of the first things it does is it attacks our empathy. It's also wild to watch how whiteness has more empathy for fictional characters, celebrities, dogs than they do for Palestinians. Next is sense of entitlement. Both white supremacy and narcissism makes you feel entitled to land, money, comfort. A result of whiteness not receiving what they feel entitled to, it ends up deadly in so many situations because they feel entitled to power. They feel entitled to land. They will commit genocides to get land. That's the heritage of whiteness. Next is the bread and butter tool of narcissism, which is gaslighting. We're obviously seeing this with propaganda. We're seeing this with celebrities. It's interesting because celebrities spend a lot of time establishing power. Then when important things happen, they pull back and act as if they do not have power to change or influence. They spend their lives trying to gain influence, and the moment we need them to actually use that influence, suddenly they don't have it. A post won't change the world. We're on this app seeing what's happening with our own eyes, and then our government officials are telling us that what we're seeing isn't real. Even Joe Biden is trying to plant seeds of doubt around how many Palestinians have been unalived. They are doing whatever they can to make us doubt what's real, what's actually happening. Both narcissism and white supremacy cares so much about image. This is why all of our white friends who were BLM are silent. This is why. They cared more about appearing good to you than actually caring about BLM. They cared more about appearing woke than actually being safe for Black and brown people to be around. They care more about how they look than how you feel. It is everything to them. They want to be perceived as good, and not being perceived as good feels like hell. They don't want to post what's happening because they don't want to be controversial. They don't want to get in trouble. They want to look good. This is why they rewrite history. They want to be remembered as good even when they weren't good. If you're an American at all, you know how our politicians occasionally do nice things to gain approval. Politicians love to do this. It's like we're asking for one thing, but you give us the other thing that's not quite the thing that we wanted, but at least it's something and we're supposed to be happy with the something. And they use that to paint their legacy. Like when I criticize Trump, people will say, well, Trump got his stimulus checks. It's like, I'm glad that we got those, but we deserved more. All of us deserved more. Then in the middle of them oppressing us, they do these nice things and we're supposed to be happy with them for some reason. Difficulty taking criticism. I feel like those of us who are from marginalized communities, we experience this a lot on an interpersonal level. And we see it when big things happen in the world and we're critical of our government, of different systems that are put in place to keep us safe or provide for the people. When we're critical of the villain system, suddenly we're the villains. This is also because whiteness thinks it's at the pinnacle of self-awareness, of intelligence. It thinks that it's the standard. They're beyond reproach. As Black and brown people, we're criticized constantly. So we have so much awareness of everything that's wrong with us and our communities. But if you do that to whiteness, you're a terrorist. Next, we have that they depend on nostalgia to keep you bought in. We see this a lot at like the Olympics and different sporting events. Like they want us to remember how great it is to be an American. Whiteness also loves to use nostalgia to fearmonger because when we're afraid, they're able to control us. The willingness to exploit is what they do best. To even survive in capitalism, which serves whiteness, you have to be willing to exploit. Like that is part of it. The reason why so many of us are okay with the exploitation of others, it's because we're being exploited ourselves. Next, they like to rewrite history once you leave. The US likes to rewrite history as it's happening. Whiteness and narcissism takes the person who's the victim and paints them as bad, or they paint the villain as good. They'll say things like, but my family was nice to their slaves, like they were nice slave owners. They lie to create the narrative that they want. Even the amount of celebrities and public figures and politicians who will try to act as if they were pro-Palestine the whole time, there will be so many over the next 5 years. This is why one of the best things that we can do is simply remember. Remember Amy Schumer. Remember Selena Gomez. Remember these people who are being horrible. We know that they're going to try to rewrite history. This was something that was actually studied by Dr. Carl C. Bell back in the 70s. He was a Black psychologist who wrote about the links between narcissism and racism. He talked about whether or not racism is just an expression of narcissism.
One word. Anything you create, you can destroy it. Anything you create, you can destroy it. If I do not get anything from the whole clips I played, I got just that one word. And that is why when I see people said, it is just an inbuilt, we can erase it, we can remove it. Said who? You created it. You have that mindset. You have that illusion inside of you. And are you trying to say you cannot change the way you think, the things you do, the way you act to some certain race? You can. You can hear it from the horse's mouth. And I solely supported what she said from every single bit of this clip. I want to say very shout out to her because this mama is actually doing a very good job. And why I really accepted, and I know that you can change anything you create, is I've seen some of these palm-colored people coming out here to air out why they stopped being a racist, to air out why they changed their mindset, to air out why they choose never to go back to where they are before. So it simply means most of this thing created, most of this illusion that we have can actually be erased. And I've been saying it, every single individual can be racial profiled to anybody. as far as I'm concerned. It is not just a matter of the left, it is the matter of both the left and right coming together to change a lot of narrative that has been installed up here. And another thing again I pick from these particular clips of this my mama's clip is she said something. She said, why will you call a house where presidents, governors, white supremacy are staying? Why will you call it White House? Automatically, you are sending a message out there, and of which it is absolutely true. Because if it's a country that are not two race type, it is okay. Nobody will say anything bad about it. But for a country that is a mixed race, and we have a particular place called White House because it is tagged as where the president and everything is saying, sends a wrong signal. I truly accept that every single thing we have put our hearts, our mind into, we can walk towards those things, we can erase, we can recreate, and at the end of the day, every single person will be happy about it. Racism is not inborn. It is what you gradually grow up to have in your head, in your mindset. A lot of parents grow up teaching their children what they are not supposed to teach their children. That is why I keep saying it is important that as you're bringing up the younger generation, let them know that this thing is not making sense. This thing is what is dividing the country. This thing is what is sending so many bad signals. Don't do it. Love your neighbors. Love no matter the color you're going to be coming across, and so on and so forth. I believe that we can make American great again. But anyways, I leave you to leave me your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this particular video? Do you think that everything she said is right? Do you think that everything she said is wrong? I really want to get your honest opinion in the comment section. And credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we use in our today's episode. This is just for educational purposes, not to bash anyone. I stand a chance to be corrected. Feel free to correct me in the comment section because that is the only place we actually like to interact with ourselves. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to every single one of you that have been supporting the channel. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are the best. And yes, with no further ado, I do like I say in my videos. I'm going to be saying, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll be back with my next video. Bye for now. I love you guys from the depth of my heart. Mwah. Tell me in the comment section that you love me too. Bye.